Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cold Outreach Success Stories, where we interview regular business people just like you who've had a lot of success with cold outreach on email and other channels. We go deep into the process with hot tips around targeting, messaging, personalization, so that you can take away some tips to implement in your cold outreach starting tomorrow. Today, we have Wayne from Mayhem Digital Media. Welcome to the show, Wayne.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So let's get into it. So, what do you guys do and how do you guys make money?
Well, we make money by helping online coaches, course creators, and consultants never have to worry about where their next lead, appointment, or client is coming from ever again. We utilize a variety of strategies to do that. Facebook, Instagram ads have always been historically beneficial for us. We're very, very heavily TikTok focused. And on top of it, we have a killer cold email system that generates anywhere between 2 to 6 positive replies per day.
Wow, that sounds great. So you funnel them in through ads and then you have your email system for nurture, right? Essentially.
Actually, we do both. So we have a system that's on the front end with ads where it's building an audience, building followers, having people watch the content, get educated and all that stuff. But my team and I have actually spent the past 2 years building a database of over 65,000 coaches, course creators, and consultants that may or may have seen the ads, but they're going to get an email from us regardless.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Interesting. Makes a ton of sense. Perfect. So let's get deeper into that then. Like your ideal customer profile, dive deeper into that. What kind of coaches do you work with, consultants? What are the top niches that you see?
Well, we actually have a heavy involvement in the relationship and the self-improvement space.
Mm-hmm.
But the qualifiers to work with our Done For You program is that number one, you need to sell a coaching, whether it's online or in person, however it is, we don't care, but it needs to be worth at least $2,500 or more.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, is that you need to have sold that program to somebody that's not your friend or your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And then thirdly is that you need to go through our sales program as well. Because here's the thing that I've learned is that lead generation, even though the number one thing that businesses and entrepreneurs complain about is that they can't seem to find their ideal client,
Mm-hmm.
that's not actually the problem. Generating leads with names, phone numbers, emails, addresses, and even income ranges and all that stuff is actually just a matter of data resolution. What the actual real issue is being able to sell those people on your ability to help them solve their problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so the issue with a lot of online coaches and course creators isn't that they don't have a good product.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't that they don't have exposure, although some don't because they don't know what they're doing. It's the fact that even if they had the exposure, they don't know how to turn those people into paying clients. And so we actually just leveraged ChatGPT and Agent GPT to build out a whole sales course based off of my 15 years of sales knowledge. That's actually where I got my start, was cold calling real estate agents back in 2009.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, all right. So you have this data and now what do you do with it? Like give me, a deeper dive into what does the cold email look like? What kind of templates? What does the copy look like?
Honestly, over the past 2.5 years, which is as long as I've been doing cold email, we've tested probably a dozen different scripts and offers and programs and hooks and different things like that. And I would say that the number one thing that needs to be communicated is, number one, where you found them.
Mm-hmm.
Because what that does is that creates a mental link between why they're receiving the email and what they've done in their lives. Mm-hmm. A lot of marketers, what they don't do is they don't take into consideration the fact that we as human beings, we get over 3,000 messages and offers and stuff shoved into our face every day. And unless there's a mental connection as to why you're sending that person an email, you're immediately categorized into promotions or spam or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing is we don't advertise our methodologies or the unique mechanism that we leverage at all. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares what our unique mechanism is if they don't know us. Mm-hmm. Our unique mechanism only matters if somebody knows about our story and why we do things the way that we do. Okay, but doing cold outreach and calling somebody or sending them a cold email, they only care about the transformation that is offered. And so the first thing that you do is you connect how you found them and why you're sending them the email, and then you connect to them the problem that you're solving for them. Okay. Whenever you try to talk about the platform, so like just a few weeks ago, we sent out a cold email that talked about TikTok versus Facebook. We only got 1 or 2 responses from a list of 30,000 people. Right? But you take away the mechanism and you just tell them, hey, look, we can guarantee appointments, we can guarantee clients, we can guarantee the transformation. Okay, so after you've identified where they are and why you found them and why you're sending the email, tell them about how you can do that transformation. And then the next 2 steps are really, really important, but they can be done with a wide piece of variety. Okay, the second is not necessarily putting links or full case studies, but just a list of 3 to 5 people that you've done that for recently. Okay. And then the last thing is the PS. What a lot of people don't realize in cold email is that the PS is the second most read portion of your communication.
Right.
So don't put your call to action or anything like that in the body. Put the call to action in the PS. Because what people will do is they'll skim the email before they actually read it. They'll say, hey, you know what? This person found me on LinkedIn, for example, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they can help me solve my problem of getting people into my programs. Okay, great. These are the people they've done it for. Oh, and if this resonated, then I click here and then I book a call.
Got
If
it.
one of those 4 things aren't done, your cold email isn't going to work. And what you're actually looking for is a 1 positive reply for every 300 emails sent.
That's the ratio you go for. Okay.
When we get more than 1 positive reply per 3 emails sent, we can start to fill our calendars. When we get less, there's too much effort and too much friction for those numbers to be scalable, is what we found. Because if you're with us, if you think about it, we have a list of 65,000 people. We send about 1,000 cold emails a day, because cold email is a numbers game. Okay. And what that equals out to, if you do the 300 and 1,000, that's about 3.5 positive replies per day. Okay. I've worked in solar, real estate, roofing, insurance, business to business loans, the agency space, and now coaches. You cannot scale a business if you don't have more than 3 appointments, or if you don't have at least 3 appointments a day. Period.
Right. Makes a ton of sense. Perfect. So let's go deeper into the outreach process. So is it only email, or do you do cold outreach on other channels as well, like maybe LinkedIn, Facebook? What have you experimented with?
Yeah. So we've actually done cold outreach on pretty much every channel at this point. I actually I've invested in a piece of software. I don't know if it's out there anymore. But I'm grandfathered in, called Ulink.
I'm aware of that.
They actually have a direct connection with LinkedIn, and you can set up the cold outreach that way. I wouldn't recommend investing into any tools with LinkedIn besides Sales Navigator until you've got your message and your marketing down. Because I will tell you from experience, the message that works and has been working with us for the past 2 years with cold email does not work with DM outreach at all.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's a different medium.
Yeah, with social media, it has to be a little bit more customized. And over the past year, we've actually noticed that the platforms, if you have like a Google Doc full of your scripts and stuff like that, if you're copying and pasting the same scripts to a large amount of people, the platforms notice that now.
Yeah.
What have you seen on your end?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen pretty much the same thing on LinkedIn. But having said that, if your script is good, as in it's a short text, like it's almost like SMS, right? If you're able to come up with scripts which are short, punchy, 1 line, right? Max 1 or 2 lines, then it kind of works. Although, again, it's a numbers game. And with LinkedIn, what we've realized is the same as what you've seen. It's hard to scale because, you can't really go to the volumes like you can with email, right? To 1,000 a day. For 1,000 a day, you would need like 100 LinkedIn accounts, right? Because they're only allowing you 10 per day. So that's the challenge, right? Scaling is the challenge. It's not really from a script perspective that we've seen headwinds. It's more from a scale perspective.
Yeah, and that's what we've noticed as well. I'm not knocking those methodologies, because I have a friend that he's built a 50K a month business purely off of cold DMs, getting into people's groups, and doing it that way. So I know for a fact that it works, and it works really, really well. But if
Yeah,
I had to do it all over again, I would stick straight up to cold email for my prospecting system. And then what I would do is I would sell 5 or 6 off of that. And then I would put that money back into advertising, but I wouldn't put it into advertising in the sense that you're thinking. I would put it into actually growing a following and building out a digital newspaper of sorts.
I see. I see. So that's owned media, right? So why do you say that? What's the biggest problem you've seen?
Well, the problem is that these, like, for example, I run about 20 different accounts that all are paid ad accounts on TikTok right now. All right. Now, with TikTok in particular, they actually have a math equation that they use within TikTok to tell you how much money you should be spending on a daily basis.
I see.
I can tell you that 9 out of 10 people that are advertising on any platform don't have enough money to advertise on the platform. Because what you're doing is you're actually, it's like having a baby and then not feeding the baby the food that it needs to grow into a proper adult.
Right.
What ends up happening is people end up, investing into their systems or not having enough money. And so they put together a $500 ad budget or something like that. And it's never going to teach the algorithm enough about your audience. So you've made this program or this thing and sitting there, and it's lovely and it's pretty, but you're not feeding it enough food for it to thrive and really. And so I actually have talked to reps at Meta and reps at TikTok about this, because I spend so much money on the platforms that they give me a dedicated rep. And the thing about it is that if you don't have the amount of money that they say based on these equations that they've given me, the best thing that you can spend your money on is growing the following or getting these people to actually consume your content. Because then what happens is it opens up other opportunities by you only advertising to your followers, or only having this list of people that have maybe been part of your Facebook group. And because they already know you, and because that continual education is happening, not just with your email, but now on platform as well, it's much, much cheaper to advertise to those people versus going out and generating a bunch of leads that are cold saying, hey, I want to improve my business, or I want to improve my life. Right.
Got it. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what that actually does is that creates a flywheel. So your cold email is where you start, right? You can get a cold email system for $50 a month. You can clean your data for a couple $100. Now you have a business that you can start for $250, right? Then what ends up happening is you sell 5 or 10 grand worth off of that cold email system. You take every single penny that you do, you put that money into growing your following, and then you advertise to your following via paid ads.
Makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's one thing for a multi-billion-dollar brand where they have basically unlimited budget and they can get those kind of qualified leads at scale. But for like a small business on a budget, it's almost like levels of a video game, right? Like where you clear level 1 and then you're like, okay, now I have enough money to go into a following. Once I have a big enough following, I'm like, okay, I can advertise to completely cold audiences now because I have like 100 grand in the bank at least just for ads, and then I can scale it that way, right? So it's always levels to the game.
Yeah, exactly. And part of it's other marketing companies. I obviously am a marketing company, but part of it's their just lack of general knowledge about how much it actually takes to run a paid advertising campaign. And so it's not necessarily, I don't even necessarily think it's the advertiser's fault. I think it's just a lack of understanding of how it actually works.
Yeah, it's education. Right? It's education because most people don't get the math behind it, right? The algorithm needs data to learn, right? If it can't generate enough clicks in a $500 per month budget, it would never learn, right? It's just basic math. But the thing is, not a lot of people are great at math.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't think like the way that the ad platforms think about it is that if you have let's just call it a $2,000 product, right? The way the ad platforms think about it is that you can spend up to $1,999 to acquire that client, and you're still profitable.
Yeah.
That's how the ad platforms think about it. But they don't take into account that this is your living, and you can't spend that kind of money up front to acquire the client.
Right.
So it just creates a perpetual loop of not lack of understanding. And they're like, well, I can spend X amount per day. What's that going to get me? Well, if it's not going to get me twice my money, then I don't want to do it. And then like the ad platforms are just thinking, well, you can acquire them for this much and you can still be profitable. So it doesn't make sense to them. But as they say, there's no reality, there's only perspective, right?
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense. Okay. So what mistakes did you make when you first started with cold emails?
Not sending enough. It was the number one thing that I didn't do. Yeah. I was told by a coach of mine that we could send about 100 to 150 emails per day and it would be fine.
Yeah. It's
No,
not.
it's
Spoiler
not.
alert. Yeah.
It is 100% a volume game. 100%.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why we got away from the DM scripts and all that stuff, is because we can only send 30 or 40 per platform depending on the day, right? And so that wasn't a high enough leverage activity, and that's why we moved into the cold email.
All right, makes sense. What are some of the things that you're excited about trying to improve your cold email game?
I think that a lot of the stuff that ChatGPT is coming out with right now is going to be a real big game changer for this, not necessarily the way that it's done, but the amount of speed that can be implemented for the people that are willing to take advantage of the technology and be part of that learning curve. At this point, we've used ChatGPT for everything from cold emails to ad copy to creative. I even had it create a full-blown sales course that's 8 modules.
Wow.
Okay.
Was it
took
good?
me a week. It was decent. And I've been in sales since 2009, right? Just to kind of put this in perspective for the viewers. I'm responsible personally. Wayne Ledoux, nobody else, is responsible for over $1 million of sales in virtual products and courses and all that stuff. My very first marketing job was cold calling real estate agents to sell them $2,000 websites.
Right.
Okay. And I took all of that stuff into a business to business program where we used to sell loans and solar to people.
Right.
So if you think about like hardcore closers, that's 90% of my background.
Mm-hmm.
When I left those backgrounds and started my own agency and started to build my own business, started to generate leads from cold email and ads, I won't go back.
Yeah.
I won't. But I will say that if a 24-year-old kid straight out of the military who had never sold a thing before can make a 6-figure income selling websites to real estate agents, and those are 2-year-old leads, then if you have a good marketing partner or a lead generation partner, and your leads are being delivered to you in real time, then the number one thing that you can do is not let those leads go to waste. And when I had ChatGPT build the course, it built all of the fundamentals that I've known from my decade plus in high ticket sales. And then all I had to do was add some personality and add some context.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I think this is great, right? Like I've experimented with it too. I recently bought the Plus, and it's exactly like you're saying. It's good at producing the skeleton. It's good at adding, the sort of the meat, right? But what it misses out on is obviously unique insights from, it doesn't have a life, hasn't lived a unique experience, and a little bit of, your trademark personality or humor, which has your followers connect with you, right? It can't be you, but it can be a lot of you. So it's pretty crazy to see that happening.
I even had it. What I did is there's actually an AI tool called 11 Labs out there. You can read it a book.
Wow.
And so what you'll do is you put the phone recording like while you're reading a book, and then you give 11 Labs the recording of your voice. It'll make an AI of your voice. So what I did is I had ChatGPT write the fundamentals and the processes, right? And then I just iterated on those processes, and then I recorded my voice, had a different AI give my voice, and then ChatGPT put in a script for each of the H modules, and then the AI voice read the script, and then we produce videos with the AI.
Damn. I mean, when is AI Wayne coming out? That's my question.
AI Wayne's already out. He just hasn't been released to the public yet. We got to get it. We've got to get the stamp of approval from the clients that are going through the course right now.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. No, I loved having you on. That's it for today, guys. I loved having you on.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure to get to know what you guys got going on and what you find useful as well.
So that's all the time we have, folks. I really enjoyed the episode. I hope you did too. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, whatever you can to spread the word out about cold outreach success stories so more people can enjoy and learn from the show. All right. That's all, folks. Bye-bye.